person for whom I light a memorial candle today is one who had an enormous influence on my life. His name was Tibor Raymond Dornos, my brother who perished in the Holocaust at the tender age of 18, sometime in early February of 1945, in a little-known concentration camp in Felixdorf, a small Austrian village just a few miles west of the Hungarian border. Tibor, or as he was called by family and friends, Tibi, was almost 4 years older than I was. Upon the death of our father in 1941, he smoothly assumed the role of being not only a loving brother, but also selecting father, protector, and guiding light for an 11-year-old little boy who was in desperate need of an older male figure. He took me under his wings. I was the little brother he dragged around whenever he went out with his friends. He just finished his gymnasium studies, took the maturity exam, when he was called into the 4th Labor Battalions and sent to the trenches in Pennsylvania and later to what is today northern Serbia. A few months later, with the fast withdrawing German and Hungarian troops, they were marched through western Hungary, stopping here and there, often without food or a roof over their heads, in the cold fall and the winter of 1944-1945. He, with his fellow prisoners, ended up in Felixdorf, where rampant typhus epidemic killed many of these starved and exhausted young men. Tibi, unfortunately, was among them. Tibi was a rather brilliant young man, a promising mathematician, a gentle soul, a caring and friendly boy whose life was cut short at tender age in that horror-filled insanity that we now call the Holocaust. And I have lost a father figure the second time in 3 years. In his memory, I light this candle now, although he lives and will live forever in my heart. My youngest grandson, Joseph Tibor Dornos, inherited his name, and I hope that the remembrance will continue for many generations to come. That would be it.
There is one time, please.
Our family lived in Berlin and Germany, and that's where I grew up. I had a younger sister, 5 years younger than I. Her name was Eva Irene Fontaine. She was a delightful, beautiful little girl. In 40 and 41, when Jews were no longer permitted to go to German public schools, she was enrolled in a Jewish school, which meant that she had to walk about 200 to 300 meters to the nearest subway station in Berlin, and then take the train to the Jewish school. One day she told us that she met a blind man who was walking by our house toward the same subway station. And the walk consisted also of crossing several very busy streets, and there were no traffic lights there. So she helped him across those streets, and from then on, every morning, they had sort of a date, and she walked with this blind man and to the subway station and helped him cross those busy streets. I still remember the name. His name was Mr. Nader. And one day, when he passed our house, his companion didn't show up anymore. I don't know what he thought. I never met the man. Just in the story of my sister. I also, for many years, had the fantasy that maybe my sister survived somewhere in the East. In the beginning, I didn't even know where she wound up, and met a good-looking Russian officer, and would then come with him to Berlin, and I would be reunited with her. Of course, I didn't have Arbor and I have a daughter, and her name is Eva. Thank you.
My name is Alina Correa. I was born in the Warsaw Ghetto in 41. So my parents, Esther Fischer-Felia and Shlomo Felia. When I was about 1 year old, my parents gave me to a Christian family to save my life. And from them, I came to a couple, a Christian couple. I don't know how it happened exactly, but with them I spent the rest of the war. That's the picture of the people, the Christian couple. Here they are about 80 years old, 80 years old. When I came to them, they were in their 60s. With them I lived for 3 years during the worst years of the war. These people, which I call them, and people like them, the unsung heroes of the war, endangered their lives for 3 years in order to save a baby, a Jewish child, completely strange to them. not everybody knows today what big was this danger at that time. Christians in Poland that hide Jews were subject to be murdered by the Germans with the Jewish people that they hide. And the danger to be found was very, very great, because it was not just the danger to be found by the Germans. Many Poles were anti-Semites, and they collaborated with the Germans, and the people that saved Jews lived in a permanent danger from their neighbors and sometimes from their own families. I lived with them as their own granddaughter. I call them grandpa and grandma. On Sundays we were going to the church. Every night I was praying to Jesus. They not only saved my life, but they gave me always a lot of love and care, even at times when the economic situation became severe. And from the distance of time and place, I again thank them, and I think they were then those that saved the honor of humanity at its darkest time. To their memory and to the memory of my parents, Esther and Shlomo Felia, at their memory, Adela and Dionisi Rozwadowski, I would like the candles to them.
I would go with my husband next.
Hello. At the time of the Austrian Anschluss annexation in Germany in March 1938, I was 4 years old, living with an extended family in Vienna. A couple of weeks later, my father, 3 daughters, and his 30-year-old